Good morning, traders. Chris Buss here with Traders Profit Compass with your morning look at markets for Monday, December 14th. Okay, guys, hope you had a nice weekend and got some rest and relaxation and recharged your batteries. We've got a what I think will be a pretty eventful, well, let's put it this way. There's a lot of events this week, macro and stock specific. We'll get into that in a minute here. It's pretty early this morning as I start the video. It's 15 till 6, 5:45 a.m. Let's go over some of the macro stuff that's going to be happening this week. Well, number one, the vaccine got approved, so that's a positive catalyst. So needles are starting to go in arms across the country, and barring any, super logistics kind of nightmare, that will just be more and more going forward. So that should be positive news. Also, over the weekend, there's this Gang of Eight bipartisan Gang of Eight in DC that has advanced this $908 billion COVID relief program out of that group. And Joe Manchin of West Virginia is one of the participants in that Gang of Eight. He's a Democrat, moderate Democrat, and he was on all the Sunday shows yesterday really pushing that they're not leaving on Friday without a deal. And I listened to his comments. I said, man, he sounds pretty confident. And whether he was just, talking BS or not, he sounded very positive. And now I look at Bloomberg and their headlines are, $908 billion package gains momentum. We'll see. I think in my base case has been something gets done by Friday. I don't know what form that'll take. This thing may morph a couple more times before that gets done, but I don't think that Congress can leave with nothing happening. Always possible, but my base case remains that something gets done. I think the public outcry would be deafening if they didn't do anything at all. We have the FOMC decision Wednesday at 2 p.m. That may be significant because now the Joe Biden president-elect seems to be firming up. Janet Yellen surely will get approved for Treasury, and now Powell probably have some operating space. If he wants to tweak the programs at all, he would have the room to do that versus last time, which was right at the election, didn't really say or do anything. So this may be a more eventful Fed meeting than the last few have been. So that's Wednesday at 2 p.m. and then the presser at 2:30. We also have Friday, the big quarterly options expiration on this Friday, December 18th. So that quad witching is when all, the quarterly options and futures expire together. Could be some added volatility coming at the end of the year. So be aware of that possibility. And we'll get into Tesla specifics, but Tesla is getting included in the S&P 500 index as of Monday. So anybody that's an indexer kind of has to have that on the books by Friday at the end of business. So Monday, it will be in their tracking indexes. So Tesla promises to be very active this week as people jockey, and they have to sell things to make room for Tesla's inclusion. So let's get into it. Friday SPY 2 hour on Friday. Nothing really happened much on Friday, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. The key level on SPY, in my mind, remains 365. We have penetrated that level a couple times and looked into this gap, but it remains open down to 362. And I've been, relatively surprised that on these looks below that it just didn't come down here and fill it. But be that as it may, I think you can be long against 365 on SPY. Here's your 30-minute chart. I had drawn this structure pre-market on Friday, and right, I haven't changed this, trust me. Right down to the bottom of that flag extension is where this thing stopped and reversed. I thought that was pretty interesting. So today, I think here at 366, you can definitely be long and look for a move to 368, and above 368, that was another breakout level. So I think here can also be a buy point or a place to add, and then you can move up your stops and your strikes up towards 368. And if you had gotten in down here and just, or the recapture of 355 or the recapture of 366, and you got long on Friday, any move up here to 368 with a breakout would be a great place to take some profits, book, get paid for being long that, and then move everything up to 368 and look for a push higher. There is a lot of green across the board this morning. ES is up about 0.62%, NASDAQ futures up 0.4%, and small cap futures up 0.9%. So a lot of green this morning. We're still, 3.5 hours before the open, so anything can happen. But I think the market is seeing good news in the vaccine and stimulus front. Moving on to the Qs. Again, nothing much happened. We had the breakdown on Wednesday. Came down to this 298 level, bounced, came back again for another check and bounced. I think today 302 is your pivot point. I think you can be long above, and then if you were to break out above 305, that is another place where you could buy or add to a position, recapturing that level. Below 302 gets a little iffy, could come back into 298 for another check, but I'm favoring a green day today, unless there's a tape bomb that the COVID talks collapse. Here's 30-minute view. Down here at this double bottom, you can see, I don't have it marked in, but some bullish divergence here. PPO at this low is lower than the PPO at the same level. Here, positive divergence. Same thing on RSI. You got one low here. When price is at the same low, RSI is higher. Bullish divergence, that's always a nice confirmation. If you were trading this actively, it's nice to see that, have confidence at level as a double bottom with the bullish divergence. IWM remains the strongest and outperforming the other two. There's a level just a few ticks below 188 that has contained all these pullbacks. I think you can definitely be long against 188, and there's also, on smaller time frames, a level here at 190, and I think you can be long against that as well. You can see it here. Now I've got this triangle drawn in here. On a break below, would favor a move towards 188, but I think we're going to have a breakout above. So I think being long against 190 is going to be right. And if price were to take out this prior high right here at 91.50, 91.75, then you could raise your stops up and look for a challenge of the prior high up at 192.50. Facebook, not a lot going on. Price is sitting right on the pivot at 273.50. I think you can be long above and short below. Pretty, simple setup. Nothing too complicated. I think we're going to have to see as this week rolls out how much the FANG names are going to be used as an ATM for possible purchases, reallocation towards Tesla. So this has been, soft for several days now. So, but anyways, 273.50 is going to be your pivot for today. Apple, toggling in this range between 120 and 123.25. In the middle of the range as it stands now. Above 123.25, I think you can get long for a move, back up to these highs. But if it has trouble here, as it has here for several days, that's your objective short as well for a move back down to 121 and possibly 120. So for me, this 123.25 is your key level today. Tesla. Let's think about this a little bit. So Tesla's going to be included in the S&P 500 index on Monday, the 21st. But that means everybody, all the index tracking funds have to have Tesla on the books by Friday. We don't know how much of this buying was, pre-positioning or, retail traders. We don't know anything at this point, how much further buying has to be done this week. But so all we know is everybody's got to have whatever they're going to do be done by Friday at the close. So be ready for extra volatility. If I had to guess, I'd guess higher. I think you can be long against 600. Either way, that's your first, that's your pivot here for active traders. Long against 600. A reclaim of 625 would be a place to add, and then back up here at 650, 655 would be fresh highs. So those are your levels on the top side. If for any reason Tesla were to pull back and lose 600, then 580 and 560 would be your targets. But I would be leaning to the long side until price proves you wrong. I think there's going to be some additional buying this week, and it may be more active towards Friday versus today, but just have to take that as it comes. Microsoft trading in this range between 217 and 209. Look at this perfect touch of 209. That was a level that we talked about pre-market on Friday. And if you were Johnny on the spot, you can't get a more objective long than on this touch of 209, which has served as prior support multiple times. It's also the top of the gap. So if you got long there, that would be awesome. Also on the reclaim of the opening, that's a location you could have bought. And then on the reclaim of this 211.75 area would have been a place to buy as well. So for today, I think anything above this, I'm just going to call it 212, it's probably 211.75, but anything above that today I think is a long, and you can look for a push towards 217.50. Amazon, nothing. It's just been dribbling down. Did have a tag of this 60 area and got a bounce. You can see here we're above this 3100 level. We're sitting at about 3116. 3100 is your pivot. Anything north of that, you can look for 3150. If it slips below, then back towards the bottom of the box and potentially lower. Google found support here at 1755 and lifted a little bit, but more or less not a lot going on here. I think you can be long against 1755. Below that, favoring a move to the bottom of the box. But if you got this breakout here above 1795, which was the prior breakout level, I think that's a level that you can buy on a reclaim of that level. Netflix also chopping around, middle of the range, no trade to make. I think your first decision point will be at 505. That's your pivot. A break above, reclaiming that level is a long, or you can look for 515 and then 520, potentially 525 to fill this upper gap. If it gets rejected here, back towards the bottom of the box. Now I want to hit some specific names and a few new trade ideas. Bed Bath & Beyond. I had taken, and you may have followed me, a little short for December 31st, 18 puts. It has found support here right at 18 at the gap, but price still below all the moving averages. The market backdrop is bullish. That may be enough in itself to prevent this from filling this gap now. Earnings are in the first week of January, so we're going to have to see if this plays out now or if we get stopped out of our short here on this bounce and have to reload later. I don't want to see price get above the 50, which is at 1951. So let's see how it goes. Discretion may be the better part of valor. Just stop it out quickly if it doesn't look like it's working, and then reload later. Baidu has worked great for us. On Friday, we had gotten in January 150 calls. Those expanded quickly on this $12 move. I'm sitting in the 165, 180 call spread for January. What I'm looking to do is, if there's a little pullback or hesitation, buy back the 180 calls at a discount and then stay long Baidu. I think it's going higher. Dollar Tree is our one other short. Put that on Friday for December 31st. 105 puts. Did get a follow-through move on Friday down to near 105. There's a $7.50 gap below, so I want to see that enter the gap today or in the days ahead and fill towards the end of the year. If it gains support here at the 20 and at the gap, then I may just close that out if the market gets really bullish. You know, a position like this can also act as a hedge against your long book. You know, we've got a lot of longs in place too. So, you know, having a short or two in the portfolio should act to stabilize it to some degree on a red day. EAT. We have got options expiring Friday. I want to see a pop, and then I want to close it out or roll out to January, whatever you prefer. But I don't want to let this just bleed out until Friday. We either can try to get out at a scratch trade, you know, just a little bit of a loss or a little bit of a gain. But time is short, and this position will get really volatile this week. PZZA holding this 82.50 level, looks like a flag. I want to see this move higher off of this 82.50 and move up towards 97.50. We're in the January 85 calls. Expedia, really disappointing. And I hope we're not trapped in this, but it's not looking too good. We are in January 135 calls. The move back down into the box makes this look like a fake breakout. And I was thinking that the COVID news would be a lift, and maybe it was, but over the weekend we got this news. The reconstitution of the NASDAQ 100, the QQQs. These are the names that are going in, and Expedia is one of the names that's coming out. And I'm sure people and hedge fund managers on the street knew that on Friday. You know, they don't wait for that news on Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. So they may have been taking a preemptive step to bail out of Expedia and then put those monies back into the new names that are entering the list. So we're gonna have to watch this close. I haven't looked at it. I'm sure we're down quite a bit on this name. So let's play that by ear. We may be stuck in it. Let's see if we can get a bounce and get some movement back up. Okay, 3 setups. Vertex is a name that we've looked at before. I just want to refocus you on it if you're new or have forgotten about it. Had this big $37 gap down on earnings, or some news, I think it was earnings, and has thrashed around since then and is now on the close to making a move towards this gap. So if you're interested in that, just make sure your alarm is set to 232.50 for a gap entry, and that would be your long to try for this gap fill. So 232.50. Jinko Solar, JKS, has this flag structure after a monster move, you know, out of 20, went all the way up to 90, but now is pushing against support. I would watch this one really, really close. You can see that there's a ton of air below. If this 52.50 area were to break, then you'd have an objective short. And I don't know if it's something just to do with Jinko or not, but in general, the solar sector remains strong. So be careful on a short. This may be a little head fake move down and then back up, I would be a buyer on a breakout of the downtrend line versus, right here. I think it's got to clear this level, and but with all this air below, that sure would be tempting. If this shows further weakness in the next day or two and closes below 52.50, maybe worth a short. Then you'd have like a $1 stop versus all of this downside. That might be, compelling enough to take a shot at it. Another solar name, one that we've owned before, REGI. You've got a well-defined resistance level here at 63 and a half. A lot of reactions along that line. I would be a buyer on a breakout above. Notice how PPO has come down to the zero line and starting to curl up, and RSI has been trading back and forth across the 50. It's its midpoint line and is now pointing up. So those are supportive of a move higher in REGI, and I would have your alarm set if you are interested in that name for a breakout. Okay. For those that are new to the channel, thank you for joining. If you are new today, please hit the subscribe button and the alarm bell so you get all my content. And also over in the show notes are convenient links to the blog site and how to register for all my content. Along with that, you'll get a invite link to our chat room. Now, a special note, I am in the process of making a move from Michigan, relocating world headquarters down to Florida. This may be my final broadcast for a week to 10 days. That'll give me time to do my final pack up, move down to Florida, unpack, get all my, internet, power services, all those things that are a pain in the butt to migrate over. And I will be coming back at you with market information as soon as I'm up and running. And I will try to keep you posted, what's happening and, how it's going. But there's no way around me going dark for about a week. And that will start most likely today at noon. So special situation. I certainly appreciate your patience during this time, and we will see you on the other side. This has been Chris Buss with Traders Profit Compass. Have a good day and have a good week. I will talk to you soon.